case of horror comedies and its popularity in Hindi cinema continues with Phone Booth. While most have presented a marriage of two genres with an interesting amount of lore regarding the origin story of ghosts and the wacky sensibilities of the same world with films like Stree, Bhool Bhulaiya 2 and Ruhi, Phone Booth being in the same genre still differs from its counterparts. If you look at the pitch of the film and the way the cast has marketed it as well, there is an intentional absurdity and lunacy to the film which doesn't take itself seriously and, more importantly, is self-aware about several of its influences and themes. It's always tricky in dealing with this treatment of storytelling, as what one may find absolutely hilarious, others may find unnecessarily loud and eccentric. Imagine the case of two Saif Ali Khan movies, an effective stoner comedy like Kala Kandi that has very little takers, but those who are invested completely have a ball, and a case of a horror comedy like Bhoot Police that integrates several elements of the genre and world but misses the mark completely with its lackluster writing. It can always go either way. Phone Booth focuses on the duo of Gullu and Major, played by Ishaan Khattar and Siddhant Chaturvedi respectively, who have the ability to see ghosts and see it as a sign of their true calling in life to become desi ghostbusters. This duo, more like the extension of Amar and Prem, cross paths with a ghost Ragini, played by Katrina Kaif, who assists them in their business venture of being a hotline service to help those being tormented by ghosts, only to realize in the journey that Ragini's ultimate goal was entirely different. Enter the antagonist of the film, Aatmaram, played by Jackie Shroff, and his evil plan that needs to be curtailed. Here's me telling you the good and bad aspects of Phone Booth so that you guys can ultimately decide whether to watch it in theaters or not. Average music and marginally unfunny gags. One of the most forgettable elements of the movie and its screenplay is its music and the dance sequences that work as great marketing tools for the film but definitely felt forced in its screenplay. Kinna Sona acts as an introductory piece for the trio meeting each other, and other than Katrina moving like a dream and the boys being capable dancers, it lends nothing to the film. And so is the case of Kali Teri Gut also, which attempts to create a gag regarding Punjabi's natural urge to dance and do bhangra but mostly misses the mark. While I will be raving about the film's writing for the most part, it is true that some of the gags just don't land, and this is especially true when there is an intentional attempt to be funny. Whether it just be a force play of words by saying buy this cola very D, or the cringiest abhi to pool hai thodi der mein dead pool ban jayega, or the cricket commentary in the climax. Some are definitely a miss in terms of punchlines, but for the most part I have to say that I had several laugh out loud moments in the film. Interesting lore is missing. When you think about the strongest or most successful horror comedies in Hindi cinema in the past few years, the two names that pop up in your head are Stree and Bhool Bhulaiya 2. And one of the main reasons for the success of both those films is the interesting origin story and lore that they created, which gets fleshed out in the concluding moments of the film. While one explored the interesting experiences of Stree in a town that ostracized her and fleshed out a ghost deeply resentful and wanting just respect, Bhool Bhulaiya 2 benefited from an acting talent like Tabu to communicate a case of twins, undivided attention, and the obsession that follows in seeking acceptance. These moments took a step away from the comedic pitch of the film and partially invested you in the fantastical yet dramatic tone that is almost entirely missing in Phone Booth, especially its haphazard climax. The clever writing is reduced to an absolute VFX-induced khichdi of an action sequence, and it entirely misses the potential of any depth that could be explored with Aatmaram, his ultimate goal, and the origin story of Ragini. It takes the route of mostly being animated intentionally over the top and farcical, making it an out-and-out comedy rather than what one would expect, a blend of horror and comedy. The good. Pop culture references and intentional lunacy. This film especially will be an absolute treat for those who are well versed with meme culture and the history of Hindi cinema. There are so many pop culture references infused through the screenplay, especially in the first half, that I actually think it gives competition to how self-aware and enjoyable some of Farah Khan's movies were in the mid-2000s. I have to cite several examples to you without giving most of it away, as I have to convince you that most of the film and its elements are genuinely and refreshingly funny. The voiceover beautifully introduces the film like a Ramsey 80s horror film and even instructs you on the course of action to be taken while you head for the interval. A case of failed business ventures, including a YouTube channel with 5 subscribers, from DDLJ's Ow Ow to Rajnikant's Shivaji and the iconic laugh, Indian TV serial reverberations, or the integration of properties of Excel Entertainment itself in the screenplay. There is so much infused and so well that you'll realize that your fears of the film before the release being just borrowed ideas will be squashed immediately, as its clever writing, which is self-aware of its absurdity, is its biggest calling. A possessed doll slapping Siddhant and saying "bahut hard," Aatmaram's assistants being named Rahu and Ketu, or my favorite being one of Katrina's iconic ads being placed as a means to convince the boys on the journey. There are too many references that will make you appreciate the inventive choices made by the creators, and credit has to be given to the writers Ravi Shankaran and Jaswinder Singh Bhatt for the same. Editing elements and clever choices. One of my favorite elements of the film is how it executes several background scores for its moments and characters to exactly fit the mood of either the circumstances or clearly denote the callback to vintage Hindi cinema. Many times the characters break the fourth wall to even welcome the mehnat and madat montage sequences. This self-awareness is what makes this film so much fun and such a breath of fresh air with respect to what we've seen in Hindi cinema. The case of tripping on psychedelics and then flying in the air, or being told a story and imagining it as a period epic with a projector, all account for really clever creative choices made in the film. Giving cough tablets to ghosts so that they can be more comprehensible, or Siddhant's frustration of the lack of consistency in a story that does not even have a sex scene will definitely have you in splits. Calling out a recent release by saying a hideout is not even on Google Maps, or capturing Aatmaram's weapon and saying "Astra hai to button to hoga," you get the vibe of exactly what I'm talking about. Entertaining duo and carefree fun. Katrina Kaif has a pleasant presence in front of camera, but I can't really go out of my way to say as if it was something spectacular. She does as the script demands, but it is Siddhant and Ishaan who do most of the heavy lifting. And I have to say that Ishaan inches above Siddhant with respect to comic timing and delivery. Both of them infuse a much needed energy to the script and, more importantly, understand the intentional idiocy and absurdity of the script. Almost becoming an offshoot of the stoner comedies like Dude, Where's My Car or Scary Movie, and that's what makes this film a carefree fun experience, because it never takes itself too seriously. The supporting roles of Shiba Chadda and Jackie Shroff casually getting into Bidu mode that will remind you of his polio ad outburst really made me realize that this is the most I've laughed in a Bollywood movie after a long time. I underestimated the quality of writing of this project, barring the sloppy climax that definitely softens the overall impact of its clever screenplay. I have to say that if you're looking for a good laugh, especially that integrates relevant topics of internet culture and films, this movie really is the one to look out for this weekend. And that was a video, guys. Write down in the comments below what you thought about Phone Booth. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram, the handle's right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.